TB. And that was also against the Tidehunter, I want to say. So it's a pretty similar situation. So I think VP probably think this Bane is quite strong into this specific matchup, even though I would imagine TB has the edge.
Oh, we've definitely seen some fantastic Bane plays. I mean, Save in himself has had some excellent games, turning fights around and starting them off. You know, one of the more aggressive supports, it seemed, here on the main stage. He's always ready to just jump headfirst into 5. We're going to see quite a clash here, but it looks like at least the attempts of both teams. It's really eyeing each other up around this fight, around the early vision control on this mid. Now they're back off here for the bounty runes. And we'll see what sort of lane matchups we got. Of course, last game, we did see some early mix-ups in the lanes for both teams trying to find that favourable start.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Eastern Europe, laning phase is really, really important to all 10 of these players in this lobby. So I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of mix-up again, but I think the standard lanes should be expected here. It's most likely going to be the Pangolier together with the Bane going up against the Wisp and the Terrorblade on the safe lane.
And how well does the IO and the Terrorblade deal with that pressure?
I mean, I think generally speaking, when you play Wisp, you want to play against lanes that are trying to harass you out of the lane, and that does fit like Pango's concept. Pango's very rarely a hero that tries to kill you from full to nothing, so I think they should manage to do fine. However, the Bane is like the X factor here, because Save trades extremely well into both these two heroes, so when the meta's down, I think they might have a hard time getting all of the CS, but how you manipulate that with the pull and stuff is going to be interesting to see.
We'll see how much Yatoro can find out early on in the lane. Looking at the other lanes, the mid lane matchup, Viper, Lesh, early levels, how does this look?
I think it's a pretty rough lane for the Leshrac. He's going to have to use a lot of mana, as you're seeing, to just try to secure some CS, but he saved up gold for his bottle, so he's going to try to play that regen game where he's just using mana to get a lot of creeps, trying to get as much as possible out of the lane, and then have the water runes refill it. And if somebody happens to die in the top lane, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Mira TP mid and refill that bottle, or see Miposhka do the same thing. So that bottle's going to be crucial for Toronto Tokyo.
I mean, are we going to get someone dying first? What, in that top lane, is that where you sort of see the most brawling in this early laning stage?
I mean, here in the top lane, you have Elder Titan and Ursa. This is more of like a kill setup, so I think once they hit level 3, that's a pretty big power spike for the Elder Titan. I'm sure Fog has talked a ton about this hero.
Oh, he loves it.
But level 3, that's really when you start trucking in damage, and then Ursa's online too, right? You have both the slow, you have the Fury Swipe, so a lot of tools to get kills up here once the levels come online.
So far, on the early CS, nobody falling too far behind really. DM just having the slow of the starts, but we saw the same thing really happen last game.
Yeah, and Toronto Tokyo got the bottle. He's just bottling up. You notice he's doing very, very even with the Viper, and this is just a result of getting that bottle so early. Root control is going to be really important too, I think. This bottle, for me, is like so crucial, because if the Viper is able to dumpster this mid lane, that's going to lead to GPK having a huge timing in this game and VP able to control the pace, so I wouldn't be too surprised to see supports helping out with the 4-minute runes and the 6-minute runes.
And what sort of is the aim here for GPK's Viper this game? Is he going to build to control? Are we getting an Atos, or is he going to tank up so we can join these early fights and enable the Ursa?
So I think traditionally the way GPK likes to play Viper is he goes Boots of Travel, and then he kind of decides where he goes with it. I wouldn't be surprised to see Atos, because like we said, I think this is an answer to the Tidehunter. They want to use that Nether Toxin to shut the Tidehunter down, and they don't really have the lockdown to keep him in the Nether Toxin, so the Atos is probably going to be nice. Later into the game, you're going to have Ursa build a Basher, and then they'll have the lockdown as the game progresses and they hit item timings.
And talking about the Ursa for Nightfall, this game, how do the timings sort of pair up in the way that VP are going to want to play the game around their Ursa carry, and Spirit are going to want to around their Terrorblade?
I'm expecting Nightfall to, Roshan's going to be obviously like a point of contention, and if the Ursa can get that Aegis early on, some sort of diffusal build, phase boots, playing fast, I wouldn't expect some sort of Battle Fury, but it is possible. But I think they have enough AoE from the Pangolier and the Viper, so I think for VP you're looking at trying to get that Atos on Viper, you want to get the diffusal on Ursa, and then you want to just go.
Sure. I mean, because this Pango, he's going to be quite the nightmare in the fights when he gets that Rolling Thunder off, right? Nothing to stop him at all once he's in the ult.
Yeah, absolutely, as they're applying pressure to Yatoro, but, Wisp uses the healing salve, gets him back up to full HP. But yeah, like you said, once he starts rolling up, it's hard for you to play Shadow Shaman, because you need to stand in place and try to grip someone, or Tidehunter generally wants to use Ravage to blow everything away from him, but once Pango's in that role, you're not really touching him, so it's a really, really good Pango game. He doesn't need to be afraid of the Leshrac. All he really needs to make sure that he does is get on top of the Terrorblade.
Oh, we're going to see straight up TP for Toronto Tokyo. We'll reset back in the base.
Yeah,
absolutely necessary there with the setup that was made by Save.
And this is what we were talking about, right? The rune control. It's really important to make sure that this Leshrac can abuse the bottle to just keep getting creep kills. Because right now he's sitting at 20 CS.
He's doing great, right?
Yeah, even with a Viper.
Not an easy lane, but Toronto Tokyo trading farm quite nicely.
Yeah.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Up top, you see, so one of the interesting things about running Tidehunter against ET is you get this minus armor from the Gush and the Slow, which allows you to fight back when he runs in with the Spirit. And you can look at Mira's skill build as well. He has 2 points leveled up in his Ether Shock. They're looking to just fight the Elder Titan when he runs in, so it's a tough lane for ET, but the nice thing about it is that you take a lot of attention, and that allows Nightfall to get a lot of creeps. So even though you don't have a great lane as ET nowadays, you almost always will take enough attention to let your carry get a lot of farm.
Well, it's certainly been the case here. Only a few CS right now between the farm of Nightfall and, of course, Yatoro there on the opposite side of things down bottom. So it certainly seems that, you know, having the presence of the IO has been enough for Yatoro to be able to survive through most of the aggression. We're going to see a bit of an attempt onto Yatoro down here, but quickly with the tether, Maposhka giving him the ability to turn things around. Safe will pop the Fairy Fire. Are they going to have quite enough to take down the Bane? They won't. Save's able to get out of reach of the Terrorblade. DM a little short there on the swashbuckle. That's going to cost him his life. Opts to sort of stay close rather than go for the full distance on the swashbuckle, and Yatoro, of course, with a point and out reflection, he's immediately able to punish that.
Yeah, great play from from Team Spirit there. And a bottle just came out on the courier for Pangolier, but smart enough, drops it off onto Save. So Save now has an empty bottle that'll get refilled from Pango. So all in all, they still get both heroes back to full HP. They were so low that they would probably have to go back to base otherwise. So it doesn't hurt too bad, but of course you never want to give a first blood away to Terrorblade.
Now, one thing that's so definitely stands out to me this game when you look at both drafts is, you know, VP, whilst they've got the killers and the fighters, they don't really have the tower push right. They're going to have to get a lot of blood spill to actually get the room to push down objectives. Whereas meanwhile on Spirit, they will lose collapse top, but when Spirit group up, towers will just crumble to this Leshrac and Terrorblade, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And generally speaking, when you play really long cooldown drafts, you will see teams want to have tower damage, as Yatoro is going to get caught here by the Haste Viper.
See if he's got any way out. There's a lot of damage for GPK. There's no way for Yatoro to run away from this. Maposhka as well will also die. Tries to get the courier on the way out, but he won't have enough damage to do so. A very hard-hitting move there from GPK down on the bottom lane.
Yeah, and this is just the importance of rune control, right? Because the Leshrac got zoned out of the lane early on, he's no longer able to contest these runes, and he's forced to play in the jungle. And when you play in the jungle, you're low on mana, so you can't fight runes. And that gets him a kill on TV, but Toronto Tokyo has finished up Arcane Boots, and he's eyeing up his own move here in the top lane now.
TP up from Maposhka as well. The quick refill here on the bottle and see what they can do about this tower. See if VP are going to put any effort into trying to hold this off.
So this is one of the times when you really want to have tower push in your team, so you can rotate the Ursa down to the bottom lane or some sort of hero down to the bottom lane and apply tower damage. But VP just straight up can't. So this is something that they will suffer to in the game. If they don't feel strong enough to fight back, Team Spirit can't easily just run over towers.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Yeah, they're getting the seal one for sure. 9-turn up here from VP. They're focusing elsewhere. Save, trying to keep Yatoro on edge as he comes deep into the jungle.
He's being so obnoxious. He's just forcing Yatoro to run away. He just wishes he could sit here and farm for free, but he's killing off those illusions. This is something I think a lot of people don't do enough of. And this forces Mira to come down bottom.
Well, they should have a pretty good shot against Save here. He'll try and turn with the Nightmare. Instantly able to take it off with the illusion there, Yatoro. There's a couple more hits. He'll find them. So Save finally put to an end. Well, CTM looks to go in with the Rolling Thunder, but Team Spirit, they're already back underneath the tower, and nothing is going to be found with this Pango ult.
Yeah, the ward here on the high ground, just allowing them to see the Pango rotate over, and he's easily able to dodge it out. Yeah, it seems like GPK decided to go a different route. No Atos, he's going treads into Dragonland, so looking more at trying to deal some damage in these team fights. I'm not sure if I personally like it the most. I think when you play this Viper as an answer to Tide, you really need to make sure that you can either burst him on the Nether Toxin, and in order to do that, I think you need to have at least one stun. And I just don't think they really have that lockdown. I would have loved to see that Atos.
What sort of advantage does the Dragonlance have from this game? I mean, what does it say to you when he does go for this to start his build?
So I think probably what he's thinking is we need a way to kill the Leshrac. We've seen the Chinese teams run Lina a lot against Lesh as an answer because you have that long range and you buy an early BKB and you just sit that from behind and just keep hitting him. So probably GPK's plan here is to buy the Dragonlance, sit back really far, and try to hit down the Lesh as he tries to charge straight in. So it makes sense, but I think the Tide just might be too big of a problem, but we'll see.
I mean, Collapse last game did have quite the impact. And we'll manage to catch him on his own. He is rather tanky. They should get the job done here as long as Collapse does live. He does still end up eventually going down.
Yeah, and Team Spirit immediately on the response, right? Toronto Tokyo runs up the mid lane, pressures that tower. As soon as VP makes a move, he's been in the right place to apply tower damage, and this is really good by them because they keep forcing the VP heroes around.
Another quick grab onto save.
Yeah, the 3-man of Team Spirit are doing a great job. The 2 supports together with Toronto Tokyo just running around applying pressure, and if he gets a rune here, that should lead into a play. Luckily, GPK gets it, so Invis rune. Now this puts the pressure on the Tide again. He's probably pretty scared. They know that there's a bottom rune spawn since Toronto Tokyo didn't get a top. And we'll see if they might try to fight back with the Ravage here. Depending on if Collapse leaves the lane or if he stays here, that should be a pretty clear indicator to whether Team Spirit wants to fight or not.
And how strong of a timing is it going to be this game for Nightfall with the Diffusal? Is it as simple as Diffusal's picked up, he can join the fights, or is he going to have to play on and farm for the BKB before he really gets stuck in with the team?
I think most likely with the Diffusal they'll try to take some sort of engagement. It's a strong timing as Tidehunter gets caught now. But you see, they can't stun him on top of the Nether Toxin.
Yeah, he's straight out of the Nether Toxin, and now there's been a chance for the response to come in from Spirit. Toronto Tokyo's been brought in, but the damage is actually too much here. As Spirit, they try and take this fight, but that's going to be 1, that's going to be 2 going down. As maybe just overestimating their capability to get kills with the damage of the Leshrac. We see Lesh just getting destroyed on the front of the action.
I think they need the Ravage to go off, right? Once the Ravage goes off, you're going to see the Leshrac drop a stun, and then GPK can't pump damage into him. If they are able to have GPK stand back and deal damage, then, you know, any hero other than Tide is just going to melt to him. So, for that reason, you know, Dragonlance does actually make a lot of sense to me now when I see it play out. So, up until this Blink Dagger on Tide, if he decides to go for it, it should be a pretty smart item choice, actually, by GPK.
And we're definitely seeing this game in comparison to the first one. VP, they seem a little more active in terms of just making sure that the Collapse, he's just not getting the space that he did in game 1, right? This is going to be a much slower beginning for a Tide that had such a long time to ramp his game up in the first match of the series.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really do think like Collapse comes in at a really clutch timing for their team. Up until the time that he gets his blink, you rarely see Team Spirit kind of group up. And in game 1, you had Yatoro playing a more active hero as he's caught here at the top lane.
He is.
Huge.
He has got us under if he gets out, but there's nothing to stop the grip here. Mira was trying to find save. Nightfall, he's already out through the tree line. He's going to be fine. They'll turn for save. Should get the Bane. But of course, the bigger loss being theirs. Yatoro taking down VP at the same time. DM applying pressure on the mid. Toronto Tokyo not able to find the lead in.
Yeah, just good. I think this is something VP does really well here. They learned, you know, the last game we had kind of roles reversed, where it was Team Spirit applying the pressure to VP, and now VP's in the commanding position of, you know, we need to make the moves. We need to be the ones taking space. And we mentioned the heroes don't really have tower damage. DM's right on top of the mid tower. As soon as a play happens somewhere else on the map, he's in the tower space, making sure that he forces reactions and just gets that chip damage that is really important for them.
Top set up from Mira. He's got the grab, the opening. TPs are coming in to try and back up Nightfall. Can they burst Nightfall in time? Nightfall, he's got no ult for 20 seconds and no chance to survive.
Great setup by Mira. They're going to relocate back out. You see the positioning that VP has on the map right now, there's one core on every lane. They're just trying to farm up as much as possible and control map space. And this forces a lot of the Team Spirit heroes into the triangle here. So they don't really have anywhere to farm. Even though they have heroes that farm faster than the VP heroes, if the game stays static like this, VP is going to be heavily out farming them just because there simply aren't enough camps. And Team Spirit recognized that and decided to smoke up right away. Yo's finished on Toronto Tokyo too, so now he can finally make his own initiations. Doesn't need to wait for the Ravage to come out.
I mean, they're making a run straight towards GPK, but GPK is aware.
Yeah, and he has that illusion rune bottled up, so that can be used to disjoint the Leshrac stun out of Yules if he times it perfectly.
They still want to get something here, Spirit. Kingslayer He's going to walk into the action, but GPK is around to try and help them fight. A Hex out. Good ward drop as well, though. Mira just lays down the Serpent wards, and GPK, he'll quickly follow after the death of Kingslayer. I mean, I guess they felt that they could get a kill whilst the Elder Tower was being focused. I mean, it seemed a little bit of wishful thinking there from GPK on trying to turn that play around.
I mean, Mira's been playing a really sneaky game if you think about it. You expect the Wisp and the Leshrac to play together, and normally when Wisp and Lesh show on one side of the map, you expect a team to be on the opposite because they're relocate threat, right? You want to put your stuns on the other side of the map so you can relocate over and get pickoffs. But Mira's next leveling it. He knows that VP is going to assume that, so he's running with the Wisp and the Leshrac. And I don't think GPK expected him to be on that side of the map, simply put.
Oh, absolutely. Not at all, it seems. DM is ready to go. In with the blink. Good setup and a good angle here, catching them close to the stairs. The Sleeper's well allowing for a further bounce back and a third into the splitter. Perfect showing there from DM, jumping in with his blink pickup. And this time it was Spirit that weren't prepared for the moves of VP. Mira as well, also to go down. DM leads the way, and they couldn't have set it up any better there. Nightfall picking up every single one of those kills.
Yeah, and now they're definitely going to be eyeing up Roche. There is a Ravage ready for Team Spirit, so they might try to set up the defense in time. I think they're going to have time to TP their heroes if they run straight away, but
it's going to go down
like
quick.
They're moving. Yeah, it's going down really quick.
So the timing, VP playing for. See Nightfall even eyeing up getting the blink first before the BKB after the defusal. Got a huge cash burst after that. Those last 3 kills, of course, and now here we go. Aegis ready to roll. Level 12 as well. VP, we could definitely see them step things up and get even more aggressive now with this timing that they hit.
Yeah, Pangolier roll up in 20 seconds. This is going to be their cue to try to set up a fight. I think probably going to eye up the middle lane tower. Some sort of smoke wrap around is most likely what's going to happen next. As you see, this is something I think is really interesting, because normally we don't really think of Bane as a hero that farms, right? But VP have done this multiple times where they set him up to farm in a side lane. Stun slightly off the mark. But yeah, they will farm up this Bane. They recognize how strong of an item this Aghanim Scepter is for the Bane. And I was talking to AOI about it as well. Like, we don't really think there's any Ags that changes the hero as fundamentally as the Bane Ags does. It's just impossible to stop that Fiend's Grip when he has the 2 illusions up.
That makes it very hard to play into. Consider the stuns they do have the ready. I mean, maybe if they get a good Ravage.
Sleep in the top lane. Just burning the Leshrac's mana.
Mid lane. I mean, they found Collapse again. Collapse trying to get a bit of peace here. Will be able to force over the terrain to try and get up to the triangle. Mira locking back Nightfall with the Hex. Collapse. He's looking to turn with the Gush. They're bringing in the backup. Miposhka's brought to run a Tokyo in with the ult. It's already out for Nightfall. Turns over towards Collapse. That's the Tidal to going down. Miposhka torn apart by the claws of the bear. Nightfall, he's not done yet either. Over to Viper. Now towards Yatoro in the stop. Allowing Phoebe to set up around. The grip's in. They've caught Yatoro. They may have lost Nightfall the once. But Yatoro, he's dropping low. Stick. Sunder. Back up to a decent amount of HP, but Nightfall's back up. Second life from ready to roll. The Hex momentarily holding back the bear, but Kingslayer and the rest of VP just smashed down the Terrorblade.
A beautiful play from VP there. During all of this, the reason that relocate comes in so late is because the Leshrac slept. They can't relocate in the slept Leshrac, so just beautiful map coordination there from VP and communication. You know, Save runs up top, sleeps the Leshrac, they take a fight in the middle lane. Just the understanding of the macro game from VP to play this aggressive is beautiful to watch.
Yeah, excellent usage here at the first Aegis. We'll see it once more how the fight starts. Again, the real big difference between this game and the last one seems, VP much more aggressive and so much attention on Collapse, making sure that Collapse is tied. It's just left completely behind this game.
Yeah, and this was a beautiful usage of the Yules. When I saw this, I was like, oh my god, the Viper might actually go down, but he's able to stand his ground and deal just enough damage for Nightfall to clean up the fight. And he's taking so much attention on GPK that, Nightfall just runs around freely and does whatever he wants.
We see it towards the end. Nice little attempt, but again, sort of just the Bane play from Save, forcing Yatoro to stick around and fight that little bit longer than he can deal with.
Yeah, just a great team fight coming out from VP, and they're continuing to apply pressure here in the bottom lane though. Team Spirit have smoked up with Mira and Yatoro, and they're looking for some sort of pickoff, but it doesn't really look like it's going to happen. Nightfall sniffs it out. The next big timing coming up is probably the Ursa BKB. That's when you'll see VP probably try to group up and keep applying the pressure. But a very similar story to last game, right? If VP ever takes their foot off the gas, then the scaling of Team Spirit is going to be amazing. And once they start finishing up these items that allow them to survive, like the BKB on the Leshrac and the Eye of Skadi on Yatoro, it gets a lot harder.
Bottom lane, DM is in the back of Nightfall as Team Spirit did try and set up here. Onto the Ursa. See if DM's able to roll his way back out to safety as he is on his own. DM, look at the swashbuckle loss. Stun still hits, and in fact, they're taking them out of there. They don't want to stick around. They know that the rest of VP's making their way over.
Look top though.
Can they
GPK
catch GPK? He's got the BKB and a TP at the ready. He'll pop it. Not taking any chances here, GPK. He knows that they're all coming over. And VP, they make it away.
Yeah, Save's in trouble. Mira's going to catch him here. There's just so much going on the map. There's like a very intelligent macro game being played. Nightfall stuff.
I mean, Mira, he's dead. Nightfall able to clean him up. Again, just picking apart Spirit. Sort of in the same fashion that Spirit were going for them last game. They've really just stepped up the tempo. Now they sort of looked at the first game, said, all right, this is how you want to play. We can do that too.
Yeah, I think their big difference, like in the T1 Vici series, you saw two teams that they would rather the other team come to them. But in this series, it's kind of like the other way around. Whoever decides to make the first move seems to have an advantage.
I mean, it just seems so hard for Collapse to have a game. Still very much trying to play the catch-up, but he is far behind on the farm.
Forced off buy is just very smart, right? Just gets you straight out of that another Toxin. I just don't really feel like this Viper as an answer to Tidehunter seems to be working. There's just too many ways to get him out of the Nether Toxin.
I mean, and does that sort of concern you in the sort of the regards to the game going on? Like at the moment, obviously VP, they have a lead, but do you feel that this Viper could become a bit redundant in the later stages if Team Spirit's able to hold on?
I mean, I feel like it explains why he decided to go for this item route at least, and not the route of Atos, because if, let's say he went the Atos, right, Tidehunter would just buy a Force Staff and force himself out of it. So GPK clearly knows something that you and I don't.
Yeah.
And so it's an intelligent item purchase to go for this like Dragonlance BKB build and aim to try to shut down the Leshrac instead of the Tide. They have the Ursa, right? He's going to eventually hopefully buy an Aghanims, and then he can just ignore the Ravage. He gets Ravage, pops his ulti, and he's completely fine.
Yeah, Nightfall certainly on track to hitting great timings this game. See, they've got their eyes down bottom, ready to set up onto Toronto. DM, he's got the lead in, up with the Yours, the bounce back into the Fiend's grip. You see an attempt to take him out there, Miposhka, but he can't get him out in time. Top lane, GPK also starting up some further action for VP. As Mira getting a little too close to the Viper. Should die, tries to hide in the trees, but GPK has got his eyes on them. Mira will fall.
Yeah, and middle lane Collapse has been caught out too. There's just so much going on at once from VP.
I mean, yeah, it's just falling apart really for Spirit. Godlike on the Ursa. Spirit, they may only be 5k down, but as I say, it's just a complete mirror of the state of the game we had in the last one about 22 minutes in. This time round, VP just ruling the map, and Spirit getting very little chances to really climb their course back into this. The team fights, they're not going to get any easier, it seems, because VP, they're at a stage now where they can just get in, BKB and Diffusal, they can pretty much delete whoever they want to start things off. This Lesh is very vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, you know, you want that BKB finish on Leshrac. He would have wished he was eyeing up Shiva's guard at this point, but it's just not looking like it, as he's been caught once again in the middle lane.
So if they want to dive in, though, they don't quite have the Thunder up from DM.
Radiant's top tower.
Yeah, he's eyeing up the shard as well, so he's going for that full stun build, just going to try to roll on top of someone, Yule himself. Once he comes down, you know, you use that shard to turn your roll around, stun them again, and just keep permanently silencing these heroes. Or
That's solid. I feel like we see this a lot from VP as well. Sometimes you look at the drafts and you're like, well, there's not enough lockdown, but DM on his Shaker or on something like the Pango when he itemizes like this, you sort of come to the realization that it just doesn't matter because of how much DM can control the fight.
Yeah, and the itemization for it is perfect, right? They're making sure that they're buying the correct items to make up for whatever weaknesses their draft has. Oh, they know Collapse is
Collapse. They're not going to keep looking despite some of the trees being cut.
So if you haven't been there with your hero physically, you can't actually see that the trees have been cut sometimes. We can see it as spectators, but the players in the game won't actually see it until they walk straight next to the tree. So they probably don't know that Collapse is there. Sneaky play with the Force Staff there, getting him out of trouble.
We'll see if he wants to show himself to clear out a few more waves. Still 10 seconds on the TP, so he's stuck there momentarily. Back in action, Yatoro. 1,000 gold off his Skadi.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge timing for them. And really, the next big objective here is Roshan. So he's guaranteed going to spawn in about a minute. The teams obviously don't know this, but you're going to notice that both teams are going to start posing themselves around the Roche pit because they want to have vision control there. And we know around 20 minutes in the last game, it was a very similar story where both teams are willing to fight so long as it's under their vision. And it's the exact same thing here. So whoever can control the vision around the Roche pit has an edge leading into this team fight.
A very similar story again with the carries. But once more, Yatoro, Nightfall just on the exact same page when it comes to farm, both fighting for that top net worth here. Of course, Yatoro more focused on the creep hitting, and Nightfall, he's been punching the heroes. 11 kills so far here on the bear. And for that Basher next.
Yep, Save's buying a 4-staff, and I believe so is Kingslayer, so they're recognizing that, you know what, they might need to kite out these cooldowns. Once the meta is popped, will have 2 4-staffs to pull their heroes back and just wait out these cooldowns if they need to. And the same thing for the Leshrac BKB, right? If they don't feel like they can fight into it, they have the tools to decide, you know what, this fight's not good, we're gonna pull out, they've committed meta, and then refight again in about 60 seconds.
Nice Roshan, it's all theirs. No doubt about it. Matter of seconds and Nightfall will be able to finish this one, and they're coming out with the smoke from the bottom half of the map, but it's going to be into an Aegis Ursa. So unless they find a real quick pick to start the fight off with, Spirit aren't going to have the best of times fighting into VP.
They need the Pango, and they're going to see him here if Collapse keeps running in. This is the best target for them if they can actually
He's so slippery though. With the Shard, the Blink, the Yules, the Thunder, there's just so much to play his way out of there. They have to get some sort of instant catch. It's really all on Mirror.
Yeah.
If he's not able to find the opening, DM's going to get out every single time.
And just speaking about that opening, you see Mira is only 250 gold off of a Blink Dagger, and that will allow him to make that first jump, which is going to be really important for both teams here.
Absolutely, until that's there, they're not going to be able to start off the fights with this Pango dying.
Yeah, GPK is also closing up on finishing Skadi. This will make it very hard for the Leshrac to just keep running in, right? You're going to get slowed down by the Viper during your BKB, and then once your BKB is out, you're absolutely not moving.
Yeah, and he's going to be a beast. Really itemizing up to be the second carry, really, for the team. You know, you're going to have an Ursa in your face. You'll have this Viper off in the distance, just spewing the poison and toxins all over you. It's not a fun fight for whoever starts off on the front from Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely not. I wouldn't want to be a Spirit frontliner playing against these heroes.
I mean, what is the game plan for Spirit now? They must be realizing that every minute they are losing more and more control of the map to VP. Where do you look for the comeback from here for Spirit?
I think it's a similar story to last game, where you need to fight on vision so that you can find the correct targets. The whole purpose of fighting on wards is so you can see the backliners of Virtus Pro and you can catch them before they get their spells off. If they're able to initiate on Viper and he can't BKB and he goes down, that's a huge catch for them. Same thing with the Pangolier, even the Bane, ET, like all these heroes, pretty much anyone except for Ursa is a good initiation for Team Spirit if they can find it. So just look for the wards, look at the minimap wards, and that's the areas that the teams want to fight in. For VP, you have the top area, and for Team Spirit, you have the bottom area where they want to fight. And this is something Spirit does a lot. I've noticed they do this in a lot of their games, where when they're behind, they'll take over the enemy triangle and ward up the entrances. And then if the enemy team approaches, they're willing to take that fight.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Still a good few minutes on the Aegis VP.
Yeah, they're looking to hunt now. So now the way that you want to approach this game as VP is you want to try to move around the map and force Team Spirit to TP away from it, set up vision on lanes, or set up vision on camps where you know the heroes are isolated when they're farming. And then once you have forced the heroes into their base, then you can start forcing them into a team fight. And you see here, Mira's going to TP out, and now VP feel like they have gained control of the bottom side of the map, and immediately they're going to move over the heroes to top. Nightfall TPs into the tier 2 top tower, and now he's going to be on the hunt. He sees the TB on the Ancients. Scando coming out from Team Spirit. So this is some very high level plays coming out. Both teams are reading the map very, very well, and they're scouting each other out. And now, if you look at the map again, you see a lot of the Team Spirit heroes are bottling into the bottom side of the map, and Save is going to be in position to catch them.
Oh, grip as well onto Toronto Tokyo. GPK is in with the damage. They need backup. They need it now. Toronto Tokyo, how to put the BKB to get out of here. Mira, he'll be the new focus as GPK turns over towards the Shaman to fall. The Spirit, they've got to run. Nightfall just charging at them here. Right up to the tier 3. Spirit being forced back up to the high ground of their base.
That's just really intelligent macro gameplay from VP. How they move their individual pieces around the map to force the Team Spirit heroes into their base and then find a favorable fight. Now you're going to expect to see them just constantly chasing after them. They get the bottom tower, they know that there are no heroes from Team Spirit bottom, so now expect them to start moving towards the top side.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
See what they can catch here next. See Spirit constantly numbing Poshka +1. Normally Toronto, Tokyo just trying to play their best out on the other side of the map, pushing those waves out.
Yep. You notice, VP, they're not leaving Team Spirit's side.
No.
They're just making sure that Team Spirit cannot get out of their base. They understand that maybe some heroes farming their side with the jungle, as you can see with the pings, but they're making sure that the important one, Terrorblade, he's stuck. He's not getting out.
Oh, they're in. Well, they want to release Nightfall. Just jumping up to the high ground here. 20 seconds on that Aegis. Just went for the play to see if he could get something done before it expires. Won't be the case. Spirit playing extremely cautious right now.
Yeah, and we see a really intelligent ward placed deep in the VP jungle on the top side from Naposhka. So they're able to farm on Toronto Tokyo and him while they're being contained. This is really smart plays coming out from Team Spirit.
Absolutely.
Doing everything they can while they're behind.
They've managed to sort of slow the bleeding here. Get things done. That's the power of the IO, allowing Toronto Tokyo to play and farm in such positions.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're always ready to team fight in. You have that relocate to bring you back if needed. And they're getting good vision out. This is a really smart play from Team Spirit. And I think VP recognized it, and that's why he saw all their heroes move into the top side of the jungle to try to take control back. And they find that ward. It's a huge D ward by Kingslayer. Game state's kind of slowed down, and it's just both teams, they're waiting for that right fight. They know that they can't be impatient and just run into the enemy team in a bad fashion where they will throw the fight away. Just making sure that, they're fighting in areas where the enemy team will not have wards.
We'll see to the mid here. Both teams opposite side of the lane, waiting for one another to show. Nightfall will step up. Finding under the tier 2. It's probably going to be too much of an ordeal here though for Spirit.
There are pings about smoke wraparounds, and here we go. VP smokes up.
Okay, they're gonna try.
So now here's the question: which angle is Team Spirit not covering, and are they gonna find it?
The collapse is watching with the high ground. Toronto Tokyo is actually gonna blink in straight away into the river. Gets the stun on the other side. Collapses in with the ravages. Caught the 3 of them. It's gonna be Kingslayer going down. Immediate buyback. They'll tell you Yatori big HP for the Phoenix, but that will get cancelled for now. Mirror taken out here. As they'll try and go for more GPKs onto Collapse. Forcing the tide away, TP out, safe, he's able to get in, Nightmare! Puts a stop to the TP, Collapse, trying to hide in the trees. Oh, he's actually going to be able to make it out with the blink! They're going to still try and chase it, VP. They have seen him in the trees here with the Spirit out. Kingslayer will spot him out. GPK takes him down.
Bottom, Toronto Tokyo also taken out by Nightfall. Great read on the map, recognizing that he's there. So now Metamorphosis has been used, Ravage has been used. Virtus Pro's draft basically doesn't have any cooldowns, right? So once DM is back alive, they're most likely going to look to continue the hunt and make sure that you don't allow Team Spirit to farm. Because as long as Team Spirit are farming with these illusions and stuff, you notice the gold lead isn't really increasing. It's just staying at 8,000 gold. It's a battle of who can take over map control. And that's what these fights are really all about. It's not about the kills, it's about who gets map control in the end.
Obviously, it was a solid start with the Ravage, but Yutoro, he just couldn't get the damage out to start things off.
Yeah, they really need the Terrorblade to be outputting damage, and the Leshrac had blinked in and just immediately been forced to reset out, so there was really no good follow-up on the Ravage, but they get that fight with Terrorblade on top of the Ursa, or Leshrac on top of him, it's going to look very different. But what an amazing blink out from Collapse, right? Unfortunately, he gets found out in the end, but still a really cool play.
Still about 50 seconds until we get close to the next Roche potential for VP. Naposhka against the pressure. We'll pick up a jab. Try and regain a bit of this map control against VP's pretty much complete hold. Making it very difficult indeed for Spirit to step out. We've seen it's really Naposhka +1 being able to play the opposite side of the map right now whilst the vision is as low as it is. They can't really get the rest of the team out.
Yeah, and again you see, once Roshan's starting to spawn, VP move their heroes towards the Roche pit, try to control out that triangle, and they set up their vision here, knowing that, you know what? If you want to fight us as Team Spirit, you're fighting under our wards, you're fighting under our conditions. And this is just exactly how you're supposed to play when you're playing from ahead. Roche is up, early spawn.
A DD rune as well outside of the pit. It's going to be a quick one.
Spirit though, they're smoked up. They're looking to take the fight. Terrorblade meta's up, Ravage is back up.
Radiant's top tower.
And initiation's everything here.
They've got to get it so quick, but this DD is falling so fast. Spirit, they'll start things off with finding Save. Not a bad way to begin the action. Bane's gone. Save has the buyback if he wants to pop it. Toronto Tokyo has been caught out there by DM. PKB and Yule's up into the air. Collapse. He's able to get it. He gets the Aegis. He gets the cheese as well. Collapse just walks in. Cheese, it's actually been left behind. He doesn't even want it. He starts to back away. Yatura gets fully focused by Nightfall. I mean, Collapse may have got the Aegis, but they've lost their carry. They'll lose Collapse. They're almost certainly going to lose him again here off the respawn by Blink. He's not making it away with that TP. Basher from Nightfall kicks in. He will go down. Cheese is still there, but he gets it. He takes the Aegis. Who got the Aghanims out of that?
I believe the Ursa got the Ag.
He did.
He did get the Ags, yes. But yeah, is she still in the pit? Yeah,
She's still in the pit. I mean, I feel like it wouldn't be a TI with a game without a game where there's been something left inside there, and this time it's the cheese once again.
Yep, it has a tendency to be the cheese, right?
It does.
Cheese is the item that people leave behind the most. But a great opportunity now for VP to go high ground. There's no Ravage, and there's no meta. And could you ask for a more timely bash than the one that Nightfall got? Right as the TV wants to look for that Sunder opportunity, bash.
Yeah, Yatura just has such a hard time trying to get a fight going. It's just so much controlling him, even with the BKB. Bashes, grips. It's not an easy game for this Terrorblade to play whilst he's as behind as he is. Now 18k lead overall for VP. That was a very costly team fight loss for Spirit. They can't afford to lose another like that, otherwise this game's done for.
Yeah, absolutely. But you do notice VP do have some problems with their draft fight. They can't break that high ground. And you touched on the early game. There isn't really tower push here. So VP are going to need Team Spirit to come out of their base in order to be able to get this high ground push. So what you'll see VP do here is they're going to split up, try to farm up as many resources as they can. And Team Spirit, knowing that, at some point will feel like, okay, we're falling way too far behind, and force them to come out of the base. But not having Aegis basically bought them 10 minutes. They gave up a fight,
okay,
but they bought themselves about 10 minutes of like being contained in their base. So it's always something.
I mean, and honestly, I feel that comeback potential can absolutely be there. You know, Collapse on the tide. I feel like we've seen so many times. If he can get that refresher, the double Ravage, that can make wonders happen in these team fights. Bottom though, outside of the base, Mira run down by DM. And Poshka was able to make it out with the tether TP. Good job he did go for the tether before TPing out. But now has left Toronto Tokyo on his own.
This is huge. I saw something really, really interesting. If you guys click the inventory of Kingslayer, he has 4 healing salves that he sent out. They're recognizing that, you know what, if we want to go high ground, it's going to be a slow push. And we're going to need resources to deal with a poke. So sends out 4 salves for his teammates. Great
I mean, he's been digging them up as well.
Oh, that's true.
This man keeping the shovel out.
He's been keeping the shovel. That probably is how he got the salves. Makes a lot of sense, Owen. Thanks.
He's digging them up nicely. There's another one. 5 salves. He's finding all the heals. But as you say, definitely going to be able to put use to them if VP want to keep knocking at the door of Spirit. As slow and, you know, as it will be, it will take time. Maybe, you know, GPK is able to pick up the shard eventually. I'll give them a little bit extra to take those buildings down.
Yeah, absolutely. But you see, VP, they're not too concerned, right? They understand that right now Team Spirit are not gaining any resources. We finally have what we wanted. For the last 37 minutes, this is what they've been fighting for. They've been trying to force Team Spirit back into their base to allow them to just farm all the resources on the map and get as ahead as they can.
I mean, Nightfall's just absolutely massive. Nearly level 25. Has the full Satanic done. Ag Shard, he is ready to end this.
Yeah, I think the second Spirit steps out, they're going to pounce. But I wouldn't be surprised to see them happy just farming out until Roshan comes otherwise. VP's going to set their map up here with, like, I think Save is going to play close to whatever hero's playing aggressive on lanes. And then if he can find a grip on a target, that's when VP's going to really try to collapse. No pun intended.
Well, it is a lot about the tide.
Yeah, he's eyeing up a refresher. He's about halfway there, but
I mean, he's just had such a hard game. You know,
Yeah,
1-7-1. They have completely shut Collapse down this game.
yeah, he's been involved in 2 kills in 38 minutes. It's not a fun game to be the Tidehunter.
Yeah, especially when you say, you know, for Spirit, a lot of their game plan does revolve around Collapse being the main playmaker.
Yeah, I really think he's like their mid-game piece. And if you think about the story of this game, they didn't have a mid-game. Their mid-game was just running away from VP and trying not to give away kills.
Oh, look at that. Okay, yeah, okay, he's up to the 89. I was going to say, yeah, that 66 was earlier. So, yeah, up to 89% on the win probability. And also, Miposhka's out. Toronto Tokyo will take out Kingslayer. They get the Serpent Wards down as well. Mirror with the grab onto save. There's both for VP supports gone. Can they get more? Ammunition Toro is in with the minimum opposites and the BKB. Jump for Collapse has the Ravage. Nightfall knocked down. Stop from the Toronto Tokyo. Nightfall getting low. Taken down. They get the answer. A big kill here for Spirit. What more can they find? Up to the high ground. They're trying to chase GPK. But GPK's got the backup. Kingslayer fighting back in action. But Yatoro. Sunder back up to full HP. Tries for the TP out. But the damage is done. Yatoro will fall. Spirit. They lose their carry at the end of it, but not a bad hit and punch into VP there as a fair bit of damage is done.
Yeah, and they take out the important heroes, right? There's no Ursa, so there's no high ground threat. They're buying themselves more time. These fights, they're going even, but when you go even when you're behind, that's actually favoring you because you're getting more gold from the fights, the enemy team is ahead, and you're also delaying for this late game timing. So if we click on Collapse, you know, slightly closer to your
progress.
refresher.
It is progress.
Absolutely. And look at his inventory. I think this is so cool. While he's dead, he's placed the Philosopher's Stone in his inventory. It's just all those small things add up, right? It's really, really cool to see this coming out from pro players. So while you're dead, put in the Philosopher's Stone, get that extra bit of gold.
I mean, we already saw in that fight, despite as far down as they are, the potential when that Ravage does come into play and Yatoro is able to stand back and get the hits in.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. If they can have the Terrorblade in the right position once the Ravage goes off, it's huge. Up top,
6 up. We've got the Hex in. DM trying to cover them from the side. He's ready to go over the Rolling Thunder. GPK with the BKB turns over to Toronto Tokyo. Toronto Tokyo finds some time with the self-fuels, but he's surely going down. He's forced aside. No, Essence Ring is still alive. Stunts attentive with the Hurricane Bite. Oh, he's alive! He's alive!
What a save!
They get him out! Toronto Tokyo will survive for now! Mirror goes down, but the Lesh will live to see another day here thanks to Miposhka.
What a crazy save, man. Oh, there's some really high-level Dota going on here, and it's beautiful to watch. I'm really, really enjoying this game. GPK's item build. I really did not see this playing out in the early game, right? We were talking about the Atos, but it's so smart. He has the AC, he has the Scotty. He can tank them up.
He is. Yeah, 6-2-11. He's having a great time on the Viper here. We'll see this replay again. I mean, they make this what seems to be an ambitious attempt on GPK. It doesn't end up being that bad of a try at all. And just look how low Toronto Tokyo gets. Miposhka able to switch targets here and just get him out at the final possible moments, it seems.
Oh my god.
Literally the less than a second on the relocate back out. Miposhka.
What a play.
What a move.
There's so many crazy high-level plays going on, man. Every spellcaster, from the Hex on the Viper, you know, the Pango sitting behind the Viper in case he gets caught. It's just both teams are playing so well. It's a very enjoyable game to watch. And now we have tier 4 items coming out.
Oh, Timeless Relic. That's a tasty one.
Is he keeping the Essence Ring?
That Essence Ring might be a bit of a good luck charm. It did save him that last fight. He might want to hold on to it.
I think it might have been a misclick. Surely it must have been a misclick.
Yeah, he's got it back out. He does.
I think he probably a little bit too quick. I know this has happened to me sometimes.
Sure.
Try to drag it in, send it back too fast.
I mean, he's a team player. You know, he picks up a nice item. He wants to make sure that everybody else gets a chance to grab it. But indeed, Timeless Relic back out on Toronto Tokyo, and that, yeah, quite the item, of course, for the Leshrac.
Yeah, absolutely. They also got a telescope. They haven't decided who to put it on yet, but great item. Adds attack range to your Terrorblade, gives you cast range on all your heroes. For a hero like Shadow Shaman, I wouldn't be too surprised to see him trade off the Psychic Headband for the telescope, but it seems like, you know, that's not the focus right now. They're not thinking about neutral items. They just gave away a Roshan.
They did. They're able to pick it all up here, and that's what it's the 4th one this game, right? Refresher Shard, Ag's Blessing both coming out of that one.
Yeah.
See, Ursa well managed to to get the enrage off, but now the meta's up. Yatoro wants to try and fight this. The BKB shortly coming to an end for Toronto Tokyo though. He's got to start running Maposhka. He's ready to take him out again. We'll bail him out as they manage to back off there from VP, trying to run him down. Of course, off that return to the pit as well, they do now have the 2 cheeses on VP. DM's got his Kingslayer as well.
That could be huge for Kingslayer. When you're playing Elder Titan this late into the game, your biggest problem is getting on top of the Terrorblade for long enough for your natural order to deal the damage that he can, right? If they can combine, as it looks, I hear asleep. That's just some illusions. Yeah, if they can get that natural order on top of the Terrorblade and then have the Ursa hit during that period of time, that's like if Cheese gives them 2 seconds, that's enough. That's all they will need for the natural order to deal its damage.
Yeah. And that last the pick up the Ag's Blessing going to save as well, as you were talking about, very strong Ags. So this is going to be an excellent addition to VP's team fight here, especially with the way that Save has already been able to make those big ults happen. And you know, Yatoro's life getting harder. He's got to keep himself completely away from this Bane, otherwise Save will look to lock him down.
Yep.
Trying to jump, but alright, GPK, oh, he's gone in as well. Slides himself back down to the low ground with the Hurricane Pike, mirrors out. DM diving under the tier 4s with the Brotherly Thunder. There's the grip. Save has the control onto Yatoro. Yatoro needs help. He needs it now. He's not going to get it. The splitter comes out. Kingslayer takes down Yatoro. No buyback on the Terrorblade. He hasn't got the dollar.
It's huge opening. Just beautiful. You see how fearless they are. Immediately they see Mira out of position. Go. Entire team commits to it.
Collapse. Trying to draw their attention away from the base.
He does have a buyback, so they're just trying to buy time for the Terrorblade to spawn, but I don't know, Owen. I don't think it's going to be enough.
Oh, just so much money on GPK. GPK just rolling around with 7,500 in the bank.
Yeah.
So much money. They're going to look to try and end.
I think they recognize it, you know, the way the Tyrantro was playing, that's just not normal. If you have buyback on TV, that's not the kind of play you're going to make. And VP can read that off of the movement, and they recognize there's no buy.
What can they do without their Terrorblade? 30 seconds. The towers taken out here. Top 4. Nightfall is in to Toronto Tokyo. Goes set to Toronto Tokyo. And live for now. Nightfall is low. They'll turn over towards Mirror, but again, just dropping these wards down. Everything they can possibly do to take VP's attention off the base.
15 seconds.
GPK committing with the BKB, but Collapse is able to slide back to the fountain.
There is a refresher shard on the Viper though, so he will have that BKB back up.
10 seconds until the Terrorblade, but VP, they're looking to end it. Refresher shard in the second round of the BKB. They've got the grab, but the grab comes in for Collapse. It doesn't matter with the BKBs. VP can focus the Ancient and end the game. As game 2, Virtus Pro will manage to keep the